my friend, my name is Susan Norman, and I am a direct seller with almost 30 years of experience. And what I'm going to be teaching you today is something that is not only going to be beneficial to your personal business, but it's also something that you can pass on into your organization that is going to make you more money simply because you're going to be able to connect with people on a personal level to be able to help guide and coach them into a decision much faster than without these tools. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the DISC personality, and this is something that I teach in my organization that I truly believe has served me well. Whether we're working in the online world or we're working in person, it doesn't matter. We've got to learn how to build authentic relationships with people. So that is really the first step to success. I can give you all the tools, all the systems, and it's not going to matter because if we're not connecting with people, then all those other things really don't matter. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So let's go ahead and get started. And basically what this is a tool that you can use. It's understanding others by first understanding yourself. And it's the key to building authentic relationships to grow your business using the DISC personality profile. So first, we must realize that there's no right or wrong. Like, this is so important. There's no right or wrong, good or bad personality type. All have their strengths and their weaknesses. And so this training will be super helpful in all relationships in your life, not just at work, but also at home. And so there are 4 main behavioral styles we're going to be talking about today, because I find this to be the easiest way when you're growing a business. This one I feel like is so uncomplicated, but there are 4 main behavioral styles, although most people are a combination of 2. And so what we're going to do is take a short quiz and discover your behavioral style. So this might be a good time for you to go ahead and pause this video, because you're going to want to take this personality profile test. And so the way they're going to do this basically is in the spaces provided below, and all you really need is a piece of paper. It's totally fine. And then you're going to grade yourself. You're going to give yourself some points. And basically within each of those lines, you're going to go straight across and you're going to figure out which one of those words best describes you as a person. And you're going to put a number 4 there because that's like the most points, right? So that's going to be your top behavioral style. And then you're going to grade the rest. And then your the next word that best describes you is going to get number 3, and so on and so forth with number 2 and the number 1. And you're going to do that every single time in each of these 10 rows. And then what will happen is at the bottom, you're going to total up each of those columns. Okay. And so then you're going to be able to score your assessment. And what you're going to do is take each of those column totals. So column number 1, that would be our D column. So you're going to put the number there. The I would be the second column. So get the total from that. The S is that third column. So get the total for that one. And then of course the C would be your 4th column, that final column, and grab that total. And then what you'll do is you're going to take your top 2 letters. Okay. So the ones that had the most points, and by the way, those numbers should add up to 100 total points. Okay. And then you're going to put your top 2 letters right there in that results box. And I purposely didn't discuss any of the personality types with you yet, because I didn't want it to sway how you answered any of those questions or words that described you. All right. So now this is when the fun starts and really begins, because what we're going to do is talk about the 4 main personality types. I'm going to give you an overview first, and then we're going to dig deeper into each one individually. Okay. So there are 4 main behavioral styles, as I shared. We have the leader, the talker, the thinker, and the listener. And each of those quadrants, so if let's look at the top 2 quadrants, you're going to see that's the D and the I. So the lion, that's the leader. Okay. So that would be your D personality. The I is the talker. And those upper 2 quadrants are going to be your extroverts. Those are the people that will have no problem whatsoever speaking to other people. They're just more extroverted. And then your thinker and your listener, those are on the bottom quadrants. Those are your introverts. Those are the ones that maybe aren't quite as outgoing, a little bit more reserved. And what I'm going to do now is I do want to kind of take you through each of these personality types one at a time. Okay. Let's just take a little closer look into each one of these personality styles, because it's so very important that we understand them and how we process information, so that way we can connect authentically with those that we are working with, whether it's through selling product, whether it's through booking somebody, or whether it's through adding them to our team. And so that D personality, that's the leader. There's somebody that's dominant. They're driven, they're direct and determined. They're extremely results oriented. They make quick decisions. They're strong-willed. They're firm. They can come across as being forceful. They love power and authority. They're usually the person that runs like your homeowners association at every organization in town. They love to make their own rules. They're fast paced. They are outgoing, but they are also task oriented. So they would be more on the task oriented side, more so than the people oriented side. So if you're a D personality, what you might see is somebody that's like, well, I'm decisive and independent and efficient and practical and determined. But what others may see is somebody that can come across as being a little bit harsh or pushy or dominating, severe fair or tough. And so some tips that might be helpful if you're a D personality is just to learn to listen more and be patient, be more supportive, and try to empathize with those around you. Because a lot of times with that D, it's very, very task oriented, that very task oriented. You might be saying things that you don't even realize that somebody else could be taking in a way that you may not have meant it. So try to be more empathetic, focus more on the people and your relationships, and try to be more flexible and a little warmer. Because again, sometimes with a D personality, you may not even realize that you're not being that way, right? And also be willing to explain why, even though details aren't important to you, it may be important to other personality styles. And so again, we're going to talk a little bit deeper, a little bit later on why this is important when you're working with customers and new team members. So let's move on to the I personality. Everybody knows the I personality. I love this picture of the monkey and the peacock because they're like the life of the party, right? You know, when the I has entered the room, they're inspirational, influencing, impressive, interactive. They're the jokester. They're the one that loves to be the center of attention. They're interested in people. They're very charismatic, love to talk. They love recognition and prizes. They're motivational, outgoing, enthusiastic, fast-paced, and they're extremely people-oriented. Like they get energy when they're around people. That's what fills them up, right? They recharge by being around people. Same thing with the D personality as well, because they are the two extroverts of the bunch. And so with this personality type, what you may see if you're an I personality is somebody I'm enthusiastic, I'm inspiring, outgoing, and personal. But what others may see is somebody that's excitable, egotistical. Maybe they're a little manipulative, they're talkative and can be emotional. It's like 1 minute they're like way up here, the next minute they're like, oh my gosh. And so sometimes they can be extremely emotional. And so some of the tips for an I personality might be just, learning to control actions and emotions, and become more results driven. Because a lot of times with that I personality, they can be a little bit like all over the place. Like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And oh my gosh, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. Because they are also somebody that loves people and are people pleaser, that sometimes they may overcommit and underdeliver. So sometimes you may want to be a little bit less impulsive. And so for important decisions in life, maybe take a few seconds or a few minutes or even overnight to think about some things when it comes to major life decisions. Okay. Otherwise, it's totally fine to be fun and impulsive for sure. But also focusing on attention on details, because a lot of times with the I personality, again, they don't care about the details. And honestly, if it's not about them, they don't care anyway. Right. And so listening more and talking less. And so I always believe, God gave us 2 ears for one reason, so that we would listen twice as much as we speak. But sometimes that can be challenging for the I personality. But once you know this about yourself, I think it's empowering, because you can learn to develop new behaviors, because it's going to be only of benefit to you. Okay. Let's talk about the S personality. This is the listener. This is somebody that's supportive and submissive, very steady, sentimental, very even keeled. I always say this is that person that if they're standing up, they'd rather be sitting down. If they're sitting down, they'd rather be laying down. And if they're laying down, they might as well be sleeping. Okay. This is also somebody that doesn't get real excitable. They don't have any highs or lows. Like they're really steady. Okay. They're very family oriented, loyal, slow to change, stable. They like to go by the rules. They're very security minded, slow paced, reserved, but they are people oriented as well. So they're a little bit more introverted, but they are people oriented for sure. Okay. And what an S may see, so if you're an S personality, you're going to see yourself as being supportive and willing and dependable and reliable and agreeable. But what others may see is somebody that's just conforming, or maybe a little bit awkward because they don't really know what to say sometimes in social situations, or they're just really shy. Somebody that's dependent on others, that could be a little bit slow and they're reserved. And so sometimes for an S personality, it's very difficult to open up. So some tips for the S, if you find yourself in this category, is, trying to be less sensitive to what others think, because S's are definitely very much people pleasers. They do not like confrontation, and they care what other people think. So, but you may want to try to just be more direct and decisive, because an S personality can sometimes have a tendency to have trouble making a decision. And if you're an S personality, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like you can look at two things and like, oh my gosh, I love them both, and I just don't know which one I want. So just stay focused on the task at hand, because sometimes an S personality can tend to be a little bit of a procrastinator just because they're so laid back that nothing's ever really a big deal. So try to stay focused on the task at hand. Be willing to face confrontation and adversity. And that can be a tricky one. That's hard. That can be tough, but you've got to learn how to have hard conversations, especially if you're somebody that's in business and you're wanting to develop your leadership skills. It is something that you must learn, is to be willing to face confrontation. It's so easy to just slide in the background and be like, oh, I'm good, right? You want to also learn to initiate and step out of your comfort zone. Again, this can be very challenging for an S personality, because they're really good to be just in the background, Okay. And then also learning how to say no. Sometimes an S personality will go and go and go and go and go. Right. And sometimes with this personality, it's like they just can't say no. And then eventually they have this blow up and because they never were able to say no. So learning to set boundaries and learning how to say no when you need to. Okay. The C personality is the thinker. This is somebody that's cautious, competent, critical, and careful. This is the person that I would describe if you were to go into their kitchen in that cabinet, they're going to have all of their, everything's going to be organized, color coded, labeled in their pantry. All the soup cans are going to be turned the same direction. Again, they've got color coding going on in their closet with their hangers, extremely detail oriented. They're what I would call the perfectionist, extremely analytical. They take some time to change because they like systems and they like for things to be the same. And they're very calculated. They're frequently concerned. So sometimes this personality type could come across as being the Eeyore because they might perceive every imaginable scenario that's not good. And so they're very also slow paced because they've got to think about every single step. They're reserved and they're also very task oriented. So kind of like the D personality, even though they're extroverted, they're task oriented. The C is the introverted task oriented personality type. So they're the kind of person I'd be like, if I never worked with another person ever again, I could care less. Okay. So maybe you find yourself that way. And I will say that being in network marketing and direct sales, would be very difficult if you didn't have any other letter personality style with your C. But most of the time, thankfully, we're not just predominantly one personality style. Usually we're a combination of two. And so following this presentation, I'm going to give you an opportunity that you're going to be able to get a little bit deeper look into those personality styles, which is like super cool, that I think will help you even more. All right. So the C, what they're going to see is somebody that is thorough. They're going to be like, I'm thorough, persistent, orderly, serious, and industrious, which is very true. But what others may see is somebody that can be a little bit critical and stuffy, indecisive, maybe just a little bit OCD and a little bit picky. So some tips for this personality style is practice responding more quickly. Because again, the C wants to overthink everything. So try not to overthink and be more spontaneous. So, opposite from the I personality that's like super spontaneous and the D personality that makes super quick decisions, the C takes longer. So maybe try to be more spontaneous in some things and trust your intuition. Be less fact oriented and more people oriented. So sometimes with that C personalities, they don't want to be wrong. They are perfectionists. So it's easier to want to just, to be right rather than think and care about other people's feelings sometimes. So focus on developing the relationships and be more open and flexible because C is a very strong rule follower. And so sometimes they don't want to be flexible in the things that they're doing. And so that would be a suggestion for the C personality. All right. So we're going on a trip. Let's go on a little road trip and just some fun questions. So we're going to do a little quiz here, see how much you learned so far. But all right. So who would be driving this car? This is an easy one. Who's the leader? The one that takes charge? That's the D personality, right? That's the lion. They're going to be in charge. They're going to be driving the car for sure. Okay. So who's going to be in charge of the directions? We're going to imagine like this is going back a few years because now we've got GPS, but we're going to go back a few years and pretend we've got the map out. Who's going to be holding that map? That's right. It's going to be the C personality because they want to know that they can give you all the directions that you need. They're going to be in charge of all the details. Okay, who's the DJ for the ride? Who's going to be playing the tunes on the radio and being the life of the party? That's exactly right. It's the I personality. They are going to be in charge of all that music. And who's going to be in the backseat calling little Johnny to make sure he got his homework done and then he's getting tucked in at the right time? That's right. It is. It's the S personality. That S personality is going to be the one that makes sure the family is being taken care of because they just have that like servant's heart and they want to make sure everybody is good and everybody's being taken care of. All right. So this is something that I have found that is so easy to do. So whether you're working in person or even in the virtual world, now working virtually, this can take a little bit longer, but you can certainly still figure this information out as you're building relationships with people. So the response that you get from this one simple question. So like if you're doing home parties or you're working with a new team member or you're getting to know people. So one of the things you can ask them is tell me a little bit about yourself. A lot of times if you're actually working and doing a home party, you're going to know these personality styles. Once you get I'm telling you, once you start to learn a little bit about each of them, you are going to understand immediately who you're working with and why it's so important. But if you were to ask them, tell me a little about yourself, what the D is going to tell you is, all about their accomplishments, all the organizations that they lead, and everything that they're in charge of. Like, because that is just their personality. And they want you to know that they are important. Okay. And the I personality is going to probably tell you way more than you probably want to know. They're going to know their entire life story. You're going to know what they ate for breakfast, what they had for dinner last week, what their favorite color is. They're going to tell you a story about Aunt Nancy from 20 years ago. And so we all know someone like that. They are just the life of the party. They're probably going to give you more information than you need to know. And then the S personality, they're probably just going to answer the question very like, going to tell you about their family, but it's going to be harder to draw information out of them. So you're going to have to really dig deep with the S personality, and you're going to have to be the one to initiate and ask those questions. And what you'll find is that if you're having to do that, then most likely you're probably talking to an S personality. Okay. And then the C personality, they're going to ask you to clarify the question. Like, what did you mean when you're asking that question? Because they don't want to get the answer wrong. And they are that perfectionist. And they may even ask you a few times, okay, to clarify what it is exactly that you want to know. All right. And so that would be your C personality. And so why is this important? This is so important to develop authentic relationships and offering value to your customers as well as new team members. So we're going to go through some scenarios right now of how DISC can help you when you're booking appointments. So we're going to start here, and then we're going to move into sales and team building. So with the D personality, you want to tell her exactly what you need. Okay. So if you're booking her, like if you're at a party, you want to tell her, hey, you're going to be helping the hostess Susie Q out to earn some extra free goodies. And just by doing that, you're going to earn some free stuff too. Like, you're going to cut to the chase, let her know exactly what's in it for her, because she does not want a lot of details. Okay. You will lose her if you start rambling. So keep it short and sweet and to the point when you're talking to a D personality. Okay. And the other thing is with that D is her biggest fear is being taken advantage of. So you want to make sure that you are very direct with her, and because she'll be able to tell if you're being insincere or not. Okay. The I personality, she needs to know that it's just going to be fun. Like, that's all she cares about, that her friends can be there, that they're going to have a blast, but you do want to keep her on task because sometimes they can get a little bit over ambitious, but she just needs to know that it's going to be so much fun. Oh my gosh, girlfriend, we're going to have so much fun. Your friends can be there. You're going to get lots of free stuff. Okay. And then the S personality is, she needs to know everyone's going to be taken care of, including her family, and also that it's not going to take her a lot of time. Like, you need to make sure she understands that it's totally okay. It's no big deal, that kind of stuff. And then your C personality, make sure that you are ready to give her all the details, because she's going to want to know exactly what time you're going to be there, how long it's going to take you to set up, how long is the party going to be, how long is it going to take for you to tear down, like what exactly can I get, how can I get it? So you're going to make sure that you're going to be ready to give her all those details. And so it's really, really important that you also help her to keep it as simple as you possibly can. But the other thing is that the reason why I went over all the information in the beginning about your specific behavioral style is because if you're a D personality, you might not process information the way a C personality. It doesn't matter, because it's not about us. It's about getting the desired result from the personality type that you are working with. Okay. So if you are a D, sometimes it can be a challenge to be patient with an S or a C personality, but we've got to take a step back. We've got to think about how do they process information, not how do we process information. And if you're an S personality, which by the way, that is my predominant personality style. So seriously, if I can learn this, anybody can. If you're an S personality, you have to learn to stretch, to stretch yourself way outside of your comfort zone. And that can be challenging, but I can tell you right now, if you're willing to do that, it pays really well. All right. So that's with booking. Let's move into selling. Very similarly, the D, she doesn't want a lot of details. She just wants to know that it works. And she wants to know that she's not going to be taken advantage of. So don't press the D personality. Say things like you're making a great choice, because they want to be in charge. They want to be in control. Be direct and to the point. They don't want a lot of fluff, and they've already made their decision anyway with what they want. Okay. All right. The I personality, they also don't want a lot of details. They just want to know, is the stuff I'm getting going to feel good? And is it going to work? And can I show it off to my friends? And so you want to use an excited tone when you're talking with the I personality type. So again, if you're an S or you're a C, like if you're an S and you tend to talk like this, try to get your voice up a little bit higher. And if you're a C and you talk in a monotone, try to use an excited voice when you can. Again, I tell you, it will serve you well. All right. If you're working with the S personality, with this person, just understand and know. And by the way, the D and the I, they're going to make quick decisions, like quick choices. They already know what they want. The S and the C, they can have a little bit more difficulty making a decision. So you want to ask the S specifically some more questions to help guide her into a decision. Plan on spending a little more time with this personality, and be sure to speak in a patient, soft and kind tone. So when you're talking to the I, you want to have a lot of, personality, and you want to use your hands and be excited. When you're talking to the S, you want to kind of lean in a little bit. You want to be softer. You want to speak a little slower. And if your company offers some type of a guarantee of some sort, just remind her of that too, because remember, she's security minded and she wants to know that she's making a good decision for herself and for her family. And so she's going to want to think about that. And then, of course, with the C, they're also going to need a little bit of time to decide. And again, just plan and prepare that they're going to ask you lots of questions. So if you start getting a lot of questions, just know that you're working with a D personality. So you want to make sure that you answer her questions, because if you don't answer her questions to her fullest satisfaction, she's not going to purchase that product from you. Okay. She wants to know that you value what she's asking you and that you do find it important. And sometimes for a D personality or an I personality, it can get very challenging to have the attention span to listen, but we've got to get very good at listening, especially if you're a D or you're an I. For an S, it's no problem. You will listen all day long to everyone about everything. For a D and an I, you have to pull those traits out of yourself, especially if you're a D working with a C or you're an I working with a C. So again, you just want to plan on the fact that you are going to have to answer a lot of those questions. And again, with this personality style, if you are offering a guarantee of some sort, you want to remind her of that as well. Okay. So let's talk about team building. Okay. So with that D personality, this is your leader. This is somebody that you want to move her up or she's going to move out. Like, this is somebody that you know she's going to do big things. She wants to grow to the top of your organization. And so when you are working with her, you want to let her know, girl, you are sharp. You owe it to yourself to give it a try. This is designed for women with your focus and your vision. And yes, she does want to be complimented. And she wants to know that you know that she's got something of value to offer to your organization. So really important, okay? The I personality, she just wants to know, is this going to be fun? And can I meet some more girlfriends? Yes, most people get started in a business because they want to make extra money. But there's other things that they're looking for. So that the I personality just wants to be, oh my gosh, can I have fun? Can I win prizes? Will I meet new people? And so you want to be talking about those things. That's what you're focusing on when you are sharing the opportunity with her. You are sharing with her how she can do those things and still have a great time. The S personality, she is security minded. So she needs to understand that this is something that she can do to provide for her family on her time schedule. Very important that it's going to be flexible and that she can work it around her family, because that is the numero uno thing for her is, can I work this business, still be available for my family? And so that is so important. So you've got to understand who you're speaking to when you're team building. So that way you can get her on board. Okay. So it can provide for your family with the extra money that you're looking for, make a difference. It's a great backup plan, and it's flexible to work around your family schedule. And that C personality, she needs to know, are you going to train me? Like, is there step-by-step programs for success? So we'll talk about that another day. So I hope you do have trainings in place, but step-by-step program for success, all the training and information that you need to be successful. That is going to be a big selling point for your C personality. So I hope that you guys are catching why this is so important. All right. Adding value to your team. Guys, this one is probably one of the most important. So now you're working with a team of people. How can you add value to your team? Through their profile. With the D, you want to put them in charge of something, okay? So don't hold them back or you're going to lose them. You want to move them up as quickly as possible. Maybe you put them in charge at the meeting of signing people in or giving out tickets, or if you're doing like a virtual event, maybe they're in charge of, if you do some type of giveaway, maybe they're in charge of gathering the information for the giveaway that you do, or answering questions that might come in. Like, you want to put them in charge of something, all right? The I, they're perfect as greeters or event planners. You want to have them up front as much as possible because they're the life of the party. They love to be the center of attention and they get people excited. So they could be really, really great for things like that. And again, for the virtual world, they might be the one that you're like, hey girl, listen, and you bring it to the party. So we need you really commenting and getting people excited. So there's a lot of ways that you can utilize the I personality. The S, ask them to volunteer to help with just about anything, setting up, tearing down, hosting, serving food, you name it. They love to just help. They are your helper. They are the loyal one. Okay. And so they will do anything that you ask them to do, and it makes them feel valued when you do. The C personality, have them help with behind the scenes. So for example, maybe you just need someone to proofread something for you, or just take a look at the details of something. And they're also going to be really great at perceiving even a possible problem that may come up. They're also great to work behind the scenes on any kind of, a lot of times with with tech things. And they're also really great trainers. So maybe you have them teach or train on something for your organization that they're really good at. They will find value when you utilize their gifts in that way. This is how you create opportunities for people gifted in a specific area to thrive in your organization. All right. So before I let you go today, I want to just see if you have any questions for me. And if you do, please feel free to just inbox me. You can certainly send me any questions at all that you may have in this area. I'd certainly love to answer those for you. And there are a couple of additional resources that you can certainly grab. I love this one. It's called Personality Plus by Florence Littauer. She is absolutely amazing. She takes the DISC. This is an older book, but it's an oldie, but a goodie. She takes the DISC, and there's names for each of those letters, but it's basically exactly the same. So it's a really great in-depth book, as well as another book called Communicating with Mastery by Bill Cantrell. So two really great additional resources that you can certainly use. And if you found value in today's training, you can actually grab a copy of it yourself as well. Just by clicking the button below, you can grab this presentation as well as a digital workbook if you'd like to pass this information along to your organization. And I just know it's going to help you tremendously by connecting with your audience, with your team, with new potential team members, because you're going to be able to connect to people so much faster and to really get that desired result that you're looking for. So again, if you want this digital presentation so that you can share it within your organization, go ahead and click that button below and you can grab yours today. Have an absolutely amazing day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you. Bye.